Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the weekly meeting. As you may or may not know, my name is Zohar Morales, graduate of the program. Finished the program back in December of 2021. Out here in Hawaii, enjoying the real estate business with my wife, who joined the real estate same time as I did. And yeah, just enjoying the freedom that it provides, enjoying the relationships, experiences, all that stuff, supplying funds to pay our bills, all that good stuff. So today we'll be talking about just the general things to keep in mind as you're transitioning from military into a civilian career in real estate. But before we jump into that, if you're in a safe situation, I'd appreciate if you'd turn your camera on. If you're driving or doing anything crazy like that, then no need. And also want to open up, see if anyone has any questions, because for people that have been in this program a few weeks, we're not talking about anything spectacular today, just the usual transitioning into the civilian life type of stuff. So if you have any questions, those might be more pertinent to everyone's knowledge. Any questions from anybody about test taking, licensing process, veteran benefits, beard oil? You had a question, Al?
Hey, how's it going? Can you
Good, are
guys
you?
can you guys hear me all right?
Loud and
Cool.
clear.
Nice. I'm just outside. It's beautiful out here in Colorado today, so just kind of sitting outside enjoying the weather, but appreciate you having us on. Um, yeah, I'm just going through the process of the VA claim. So I don't know if you have a couple minutes to go through. The guys put me on to a lease out of it's a veterans LLC. Records
Yeah,
in the Air Force.
you
Oh,
cut out for a second, Al.
can you
We
can you
lost
guys?
we lost you at you signed on with Elise or something.
Yeah, can you guys hear me? If you can, I'll go inside.
We can
But
hear you. It's just like your internet disconnected, unless that was just me.
okay, yeah, sounds good. If it disconnects again, I'll just get off and go inside. But so yeah, go working with Elise and the service treatment records. For the Air Force, they basically put all of our medical records online through TRICARE. So I didn't know if you or anyone online had any experience with trying to retrieve those records. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
So when I was getting out, we still had paper records, and they put them on a CD that they gave to us, and then I mailed them in, or I emailed them in. If anyone has gone through that process, Sydney, go ahead.
I went through that process and yeah, they put everything through a PDF. They send it through, they'll email it to you. So what I did was I had to go to our medical administration office. They'll just have you fill out, I forgot what the form's called, but then give them, once you fill out that form, give them about 30 days. They only have up to 30 days to get with you, and they'll consolidate all your medical records into like several PDFs, and then they'll email it to you. That's what they should do. Yeah, because they don't give you paper copy anymore or like that. See, they just email it to you. So that's what I've gotten. And then all the stuff that you've done outside, like if you saw a physical therapist or any outside resource, that's on you to follow up with. Yeah, TRICARE is not gonna, reach out to all those agencies. You have to contact them one by one. And sometimes, yeah, they'll ask you like, oh, there's a $10 fee to get your records, or this and that. But that's what I had to go through. But yeah, they have up to 30 days. So when I was out processing, that's why they told me make sure you get that done first, because since you're entering the skill bridge program, you might not have how do I say it, like that good connection with them anymore, because you're kind of out the military in their eyes.
And from what I remember, there's like a website. I don't know if it's on like My Healthy Vet or one of those other like third-party websites where you can still access it. Um, I'm blanking on the one that has like Military One Source and then a bunch of
There's like
other
a
links.
we use the Genesis. I know Genesis is still up and running. That's where I found some of my records. So yeah.
Hey, so I like just did this, and so yeah, what Sydney was saying is exactly correct, right? They're supposed to give you a disk, and then they send you a two-part email through DoD Safe, and then you can unlock your records there, so you can have your own digital copy at home. However, when you go to your Veteran Services office, have you done that yet? You just muted.
Are you guys good?
Yeah, now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm working through that veterans LLC, the veteran claim, just to bypass that. So she's asking for that paperwork, and what you guys are saying is all that paperwork or those medical documents were sent to me via that safe. So I wonder, I'm just gonna have to have a conversation with her, I think.
So yeah, there's two systems. So the problem that you run into if you go to TRICARE Online and you download your records, it's only going to be partial because of the switch over to Genesis. And so that's why you have to get that disk from medical admin or medical records. And then once you get that disk, they should have, I know at Seymour Johnson, which is pretty behind times, they had already moved everything over to Genesis from the legacy system. So yeah, I would definitely get a hold of medical records if you want that one complete disk. And it just depends on what location you're at. Or I mean, I was shocked in Goldsboro how great the Veteran Service Office was there. She set me up with like I think 9 medical appointments, which I just finished. But that disc is kind of the key to getting that, because whenever the Veteran Service officer gets that disc, they make all of your medical records available to all the providers that you have to see to get your claims done. So then every provider that I saw had access to that disc. So hopefully that helps.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And a couple more notes on that topic. So when I was getting out, one of my he was a gunny in First Battalion, Third Marines that I served with. He was an admin guy, and he connected me with a corpsman that had gotten out that was retired and working, helping veterans get their ratings and stuff. But basic equation that determines your like, what rating you get, if you get a rating, how much it is service connected event. Like you have an issue and tied to a service connected event, and it's like back pain. Okay, so how did that back pain happen? Um, Carrying a rucksack for every day for a year. And so you have to have that whatever is like causing issues for you, plus tied to a service connected event, and then that's going to translate to a rating. But if it's just like, oh, my back hurts sometimes, just because they might not give you anything because it's like, oh, that's just your genetics. You have bad back in your genes. Um, so to keep that in mind, because and that's kind of explains like what Justin was talking about. So if you don't have your records in there, you got to kind of think of it. It's like kind of like a court case. So the doctors that are evaluating you, those third party doctors that you get assigned appointments to, they're like investigating. They're looking for the like physical evidence is primarily what they're looking at when they evaluate you, but they're also looking at the records and seeing, oh, this one time he went to sick call because he broke his ankle, and so now he's complaining about chronic ankle pain. So he broke his ankle doing a PT test. He has chronic ankle pain now, so we'll give him a rating for that because it prevents him from living a normal life. That and another little golden nugget that I discovered along the way, I dropped in the chat box. So it took me 4 months to receive my rating. And I did everything how you're supposed to, the BDD, benefits delivery and discharge. So make sure you upload your DD-214 as soon as you get it, which is for most people as soon as you leave the military. And then the other thing is, yeah, if you call this number, if you go more than like 2 weeks after ESing or retiring, or like whatever it is beyond your DD-214 date, then call that number and they'll speed up the process. So that 4 months went by, and then I came across this number, called it, And then it was like a week or two later, they called me. It's like the same people that I was calling like every other day, asking what the status was of my rating. And they were telling me nothing I could do about it. I just got to keep waiting. I called this number a couple weeks later. They called me and had my rating. They're like, "Oh, hey, we got a call from the complaint line," because that's all it really is. To make it sound fancy by calling it the White House helpline, it's just like a hotline where they pick up the phone. Hey, who are you? What's your name? What's your last four? What's the reason you're calling? My VA rating is taking forever. Okay, cool. We'll be in touch. And then sure enough. So any other questions about stuff like that or? All right, so we'll just jump into this presentation. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to raise your hand. More than likely, just raise your hand in the reactions or unmute yourself and chime in. Otherwise, I probably won't see you physically raising your hand. But I don't know if you guys have realized if you raise your hand like this, can you guys see that? It makes my hand automatically go up. Pretty cool because we're kind of talking about AI today because my presentation was made by AI. All right, so I made this presentation with Gamma. Have you guys heard of Gamma?
No.
Feel free to pull it up and click through it as I'm talking to you guys about this stuff. Nothing crazy that I'm talking about, just helpful information. But I went to this CE continuing education. So once you guys get licensed, you'll learn about CE. It's kind of like MarineNet or annual training, whatever you guys call it in the service that you're in. That you have to do every year, every 2 years to keep your license active. And so I saw this email about this AI course that I would get 4 credit hours for CE to go towards my 24 hours that are needed or whatever the number is for annual requirements. And so I signed up for it. Valuable, I would say the most valuable information I got from it was how many different AI websites and apps there are out there, and how anything you can think of, like there's an AI app out there that can save you tons of time. And so it would behoove you to learn how to use those things because all your competitors are going to be using those. So instead of you putting together a buyer presentation and taking a week to do it, you can, and all that time that's going towards the presentation, instead of actually talking to people physically in person or on the phone or making the calls, all that stuff. So you definitely want to learn how to use these tools to save you time when you're just behind the screen doing busy work instead of like actually generating business. So this PowerPoint was made with Gamma. I just typed in a prompt. What are the top 3 things to keep in mind as you're transitioning from active duty into real estate? And it did a pretty good job of basically saying what I would say if I put 8 hours into making this presentation. So the step 0, I had this slide later on in the slide deck, but I bumped it up because step 0 in transitioning from military into being a realtor is getting licensed. Because some people can sometimes get ahead of themselves and like start looking into all these different networking events and all these different tools that you can use when you're licensed, or like once you're actually working as a realtor. But if you don't ever actually get licensed to become a realtor, then you can't legally do any of that stuff. You can't get legally paid as a realtor unless you're licensed. And then another thing to keep in mind is if you're like one of those bad test taker types like me, you kind of get like you overthink questions and just kind of as soon as the test is put in front of you, your brain just kind of goes blank. Then you definitely want to knock out that test as soon as possible, because imagine the pressure that's going to be on you when you're no longer in the military, receiving that comfortable check, and bills are creeping up on you, your savings is starting to dwindle down, and you still haven't passed your test. And then after you pass your test, it's still going to be a few weeks before your license is fully active. So definitely knock out step 0 as soon as possible and getting licensed, passing all your pre-licensing, all that stuff. Step 2 that they put on here, it's already easy decision for you. You just choose EXP. My 2 cents on that, like I came into EXP because it was a skill bridge program that I joined, and really it really just kind of comes down to blooming where you're planted. On top of the fees being great. So like if you guys do the research for the fees for any other brokerage, you'll see that how steep they are. They might make it sound better because it's like, oh, there's no monthly fee, because EXP you pay a 150 join fee, and then after that it's $85 a month. But other brokerages, it's like a $700 per transaction fee. And so if you do one transaction and you pay that one fee, you're already paying more than you will to EXP over the course of a year. And all those other brokerages still have like the INO or ENO, all that other stuff. Yeah, fulfill license requirements, kind of like talked about. There's other requirements after you get licensed to stay active. Signing up for the MLS, signing up for National Association of Realtors, keeping up to date with your continuing education, all that stuff. All right. And everyone can see my slides, right? I hope I'm not just blabbing. All right, cool. Thank you. So with these top priorities, the overarching thing to keep focused with each of these priorities is talking to people. So think, how can I talk to people while doing each one of these things? So gaining experience quickly. So once you're licensed, and how can I maintain talking to people and gaining experience quickly? And so one way of doing that is just doing a bunch of showings, like or meeting with people, doing buyers presentations, getting experience on the job by talking to people. Because if you get bogged down, like I'm going to memorize the price point for every neighborhood in the MLS, I'm just going to click through it. I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm just going to memorize this stuff just by looking at it over and over again. Then you're going to, time will go by and you don't have any business. But if you're actively trying to gain that experience on the job, then you'll be in a good position. And it can kind of feel intimidating and feel like people call it imposter syndrome when you're first getting started and you're like, this person thinks I'm this really knowledgeable realtor. In reality, I just got licensed yesterday. And they're asking me these questions like, in your experience, what's the best area to buy in? And you have no idea about buying, period, because you just got licensed. But the more reps you get on the job, the sooner you'll feel good about it. Because if you don't know how to ride a bicycle and you read a book about it, you can read all the books you want, but until you physically get on that bicycle and learn how to move those pedals and learn how to keep your balance, you're not going to actually know how to ride a bicycle. Building a professional network, getting out there, talking with lenders, escrow officers, vendors for all different stuff, plumbers, electricians, contractors, all that stuff. Networking with those people will be really beneficial. One, it'll show them that you're just a normal human being, that you want to have relationship with those people, have friendships with them, and not just like, hey, loan officer, do you have any leads that I can help buy or sell or whatever? Like you'll actually have a connection with them. They'll actually appreciate talking with you. And when their phone rings and it has your name on their phone, they're gonna answer it instead of like, oh, this guy he's just asking for something. He just needs something. That's the only reason he's calling. He's not just checking in on me to see how I'm doing or seeing what he can do for me to help me out. And then lastly, developing a personal brand. So kind of just keeping in mind like what you want to be known for, and is developing that brand, putting it into words on your social media advertising, on your flyers, on your business card, all that stuff. Developing that personal brand and making it known to everybody, and again, keeping at the forefront, working with people as you do that. So handing out your business cards, like you have a conversation with people like, oh, hey, here's my business card, and kind of if you put some kind of like little motto on there or something that encapsulates what you're trying to go for. Any questions so far from anyone? Anything to add?
Zor, going back to slide 2 when you're talking about joining a brokerage. So let's
Yeah.
say we go with EXP. Does that mean we're automatically tied in with Wilt Group, or is that like Wilt Group's like a team of EXP? How does that work?
So while you're in the program, you will, if you get licensed and join EXP, you will be on the Quilt group, the Quilt team. And then it's really beneficial. You get to see how a big team operates. You get to see the team meetings, which you already kind of do.
Mhm.
And you get to see all that stuff, which is really invaluable information to gain. Um, and then once you're out of the program, then you can be a solo agent. You can join another team if you want, all that stuff. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. So, but once we finish Skill Bridge, are we still allowed to stay with Wilt Group? Like
Yeah,
okay. All right.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Justin?
Hey, yeah, I was just gonna add. So I think I don't know like how long it's been going on, but I know like when I signed my SIA with the with David and Tasha, even after Skillbridge is over, once the program's over, I know my agreement was to be on the team for a minimum of a year.
Okay, yeah, that's what I saw too. So that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Was that a question or a statement?
That was a statement.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. We had, like I said, blooming where you're planted, because you'll see people that are, there's one agent that comes to mind out here in Hawaii. Yeah, I think he's probably been through like every brokerage. I don't know if it's like a personal goal of his, just to like learn all the ins and outs of every brokerage, because he thinks he's gonna start like the brokerage that runs the world or something. But um, I highly doubt that's the case. I think he's just kind of um, blaming his shortcomings on the brokerage that he's was at previously, and he just keeps jumping along. But there's people you'll see that like anytime there's a shift in the market, people will all of a sudden, oh hey, I just joined this other brokerage. Send me your business. Maybe it's a good way to have a reason to announce things, but um, I think it's better when you see the consistency and somebody's like just making it happen regardless of what's happening in the market, not blaming it on the brokerage and saying like, oh, this brokerage has an office that you can go to. I don't see the need for an office. Most of the time, I'm either doing showings, going to a closing at a like a title office, or going to a seller's house. There's not really a need to have an office where somebody goes to see you. So that's my 2 cents on that. Bloom where you planted, and don't just jump around. Like imagine like military folks, if you saw like people that have been through all the branches, it's like, was it just your goal to be able to say you served in all military branches just because? It's kind of seems like an inefficient use of your time and resources. But enough blabbling on that. Um, so yeah, understanding the local market, um, getting the reps, like when you're working with people, setting up showings for them, just by clicking through the MLS when you're setting up showings for them, you're gonna over time you're gonna build knowledge. I remember when I was first setting up showings, and I was like, I have no idea where to start. Like I put a price range in, and then there's like 2,000 listings. Then I zoned in on one particular neighborhood, and then within that area there's 4 or 5 different house styles, and it was just kind of overwhelming at first. But the more you do it, and more time goes on that you're in the business, eventually you'll just know like you'll know neighborhoods by the name, like street names and stuff like that, and that's like you'll really feel confident in your position. You won't feel like you have that imposter syndrome going on. But it does take time. You're not going to just ask an AI app to download the full database of the area you're servicing into your brain yet. Once Neuralink comes out, then you can do that. But I don't plan on being here for that. Um, yeah, all the market trends, all that stuff, just by clicking through the MLS. Any questions, any of that stuff?
Hey, Zora, I have a quick question. I transitioned from my phone to my laptop, and I think you dropped
Yep.
something in the chat, but I can't see it. Do you mind entering that comment?
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Alrighty. Building a professional network. So we'll start with online platforms. So Facebook has been pretty instrumental in generating business. It can be a huge time suck as well. So there's that balance of putting some time into it, but not all your time, because as much as time as you put into it, it'll take every last bit of it and make you think you need to stay on there even longer. But a couple things that were recommended to me when I was first starting out was maxing out your friends. So getting 5,000 friends, that's the limit that Facebook gives you. And so looking back, I probably put too much time into that, but I heard of that limit and heard of that goal. I was in the program, and so every night for about an hour on the little section in Facebook where it says people you may know, I would just click add friend, add friend, add friend, add friend. And now I think I still have friend requests out from like 2 years ago, but it keeps me right at that 5,000 number. And then I think once you hit 5,000, it'll like change your page, and it'll all 5,000 of those people will be listed as followers. So like if you look at my Facebook right now, it says I have like 5,100 followers or something like that. But it's because I hit that 5,000 friend point, and then I don't know how it works, but that's a technique. And then also, if you do that, you have a broader audience. Yes, the algorithm might prevent you from showing up in people's feeds if your content isn't something that they will click on. However, if you produce decent content, like for whatever reason, videos seem to be the most popular thing to get the most views and reactions and all comments and all that stuff. And now Facebook gives you like little coaching things. Like if you post a video, right before you post it, it'll say tips. You click on that thing, and it's like tag location, tag people to get more following, or it'll say um, include an invite to follow you or something like that. And so if you do all that stuff, if you have the 5,000 friends, you'll have a broader audience, more people to see your stuff, more people to feel like they're developing a connection with you through your videos, through your content, and more people that know that you're in the real estate business. And so I've had probably at least a couple handfuls of people that reached out to me. So leads that I didn't have to chase down, I didn't have to cold call them or anything, but they reached out to me because like, oh, hey, my friend's moving to Hawaii, and I saw that you're a realtor there, and so I give them your information, which is pretty awesome. Instead of having to pay thousands of dollars for leads or chase people down, people just come to you. Networking events are great. It doesn't have to be like a officially sanctioned networking event. It could be going to a cafe, going to some kind of sporting event where you're like a volunteer, whatever. That kind of ties into community involvement. There are networking events that you can go to, like EXPCon, the Fast Forward Movement event that they do during EXPCon. I went to this real estate investing um, event back in May for Bigger Pockets. For anyone that listens to that, I went to that conference. It was a neat event where you can network with people all over the world and all different professions. Like some people are actively realtors, some people are contractors, some are just interested in getting into real estate investing. And so, yeah, great to make connections in all those different industries, because you never know when someone's going to be reaching out to you for help with real estate business. Yeah, and then community involvement. Um, if you have children, being involved in their sports and volunteering at those events, because people will see you, talk to you. Hopefully they like you, and they'll be like, "Hey, I found out this person's a realtor, and this other friend is selling their house. Hey friend, here's our realtor friend. You can reach out to them to sell their house. Developing a marketing strategy. For most of you, unless you for whatever reason just hate military people, your target audience is probably going to be military people because that's where you're coming from. That's what you know, and honestly, it's a really good audience to market to because um, the majority of people you come in contact with that are like, hey, I'm moving to this area. They have a timeline. It's usually 30 to 60 days based off of the TLA of when they have to make that decision to buy a house. From experience, people that say, oh, I'll just fill it out for a year, probably not going to happen because year goes by, they have 2 years left on their orders or less. And then they're like, all right, I'm just going to ride it out living on base or renting for 2 years because it doesn't make sense for me to buy at this point. But yeah, the military is a great target audience. You have common ground. You have common like morals and stuff like that for the most part, and that timeline is a really critical component because it develops a sense of urgency for people to buy or sell. And it's a pretty tight knit network. You'd be surprised, like you run into somebody from a different branch, and you have, and it also helps to have that the 5,000 friends. You can see all the different web connections of how you know somebody that just moved from the other side of the planet, and you have a couple friends in common. Create compelling content. Like I said, videos tend to be pretty popular, and particularly if you're actually in it, because if your face isn't in it, then people are less likely to click on it. If you just, because you can create a generic video using AI, you can just type in, it'll take like 2 minutes. You just type in, make a video about using your VA loan to buy a house in Colorado. Boom, the video comes up. But if you put that on the internet and put it on your Facebook, people are not very likely to click on it unless they see your face on it. But fortunate for you, there's also features in those AI video generating websites where you can actually add in little clips of yourself to make it customized to you. You utilize multiple channels. As far as social media goes, you can post to all different platforms using apps like all at once. But you can also use multiple channels outside of social media. Email, I'm just now starting to get back into that. Our friend is going to do some email marketing for us, and but a lot of times your email will go to spam, and so it would require for you to reach out to them and kind of make that phone call like, hey, did you get my message? I sent you like an update on your house value or whatever. But also another big one is just actual paper mail. If you send somebody a note card, they're almost guaranteed to open that. Whereas if you send them a digital email, happy birthday card, even if you pour your heart into the message you write in it, there's a good chance they won't open it because they just think it's some kind of spam birthday message. Um, and so the things that you've learned from the military are very valuable towards what you're going to be doing in the as a realtor in the civilian world. From the like developing a timeline, sticking to it, the discipline, the adapting and overcoming idea of like you're handed a crap situation, like you show up to host an open house and there's no flyers, there's no like anything, and somebody's just like, hey, yeah, you're hosting the open house today, make it happen. You're able to adapt and overcome. You're like, all right, we just need to have some kind of source for the house information for people that come. So I can pull up the website for the house. I can take that link, drop it into a QR code generator, make a QR code, have it on my phone, and then people can scan it. Or I can tell people that I'll text it to them or airdrop it to them. I would recommend doing the texting option because then you'd have their phone number instead of just airdropping it, and then you have no connection to them. Another technique would be using Google Forms, where you can just, it takes about 5 minutes, generate a generic form, name, phone number, email address, and do you have a realtor? Yes or no. And then boom, you can have that link sent to people, and you can actually have them show and confirm with you once they sign in. So as people come to your open house, you're verifying that they're signing in and not just walking through and then they leave. They might be interested. You might need that extra little nudge or an extra little bit of information to get them to make a decision. But you'll never know unless you're following up with them. That's really all I got for today. We're at a little bit beyond the half hour point. Any questions people have about anything or anything I talked about? And again, this presentation is made with Gamma. And I'll go ahead and end the meeting right now. I'll click through some of the other AI websites that I discovered. Nathan?
Hey, Zor. Hey, man, question for you. How much of your time and expense focus do you put towards marketing? Do you get outside help? Do you have an outside marketer that does things for you? And if so, like how beneficial have you found that?
So it wasn't until recently that we hired our friend to do some marketing for us. And so at first I hired just like a online virtual assistant, and it was uh $15 an hour, which I guess is pretty high. But it came with like this little blank on the name of the website, but it's like a website that organizes stuff for you. So it has like different columns like ideas, tasks, um, has it been approved, and then like completed tasks, stuff like that. But
Okay.
we started off with that and then put that on pause because it was getting a little expensive. And then our friend that was actually our friend that we helped sell her house, but now she's over in North Carolina, and she's really good with writing blogs and all and putting graphics together, all that stuff. She's really savvy with that, understands that everything doesn't really require us to put a lot of time into explaining things to her. And so now we were keeping it at the same amount of $15 an hour, which kind of boils it translates into like $1,800 a month. And so she's just kind of working on a retainer, and so she's doing all the stuff. She gets the stuff done and way faster than it was taking the previous person. But yeah, so that's kind of how we're doing it. But before
Okay, cool.
I wasn't spending any money on marketing, and things
Okay.
were going pretty well. But now we're trying to step it up.
Okay, cool copy. Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yep.
On that, does she take care of your social media stuff as well, or do you guys kind of take that on yourself? Just because I'm not really good at social media at all, so just interested to see your perspective.
So if you look up my business page, it's first name, last name dash Hawaii Realtor. She's been doing all that stuff, and she's done a really good job with the social media posts and not just the graphics, but also like the wording that goes with it. So she's been doing all that, and like she's like, scheduled it out and stuff, so it's like consistent. Because that's like another thing, having consistency. Because if you just like post like 10 things one day and then you don't post for a week, the algorithm gets messed up and you won't show up in people's feeds. But yeah, she's been mainly doing that page, but now she's gonna start like sending out physical mailers to our past clients, because that's really the most fertile ground for new business. People you've already worked with that will send you their friends, families that are looking to buy or sell.
Oh, awesome. Thanks.
Yep.
Hey, so I have a quick question for you. So I went onto your website and I see that it's Aloha Military Homes. Now, is that part of your personal brand, like your offshoot from EXP to represent yourself as that under EXP? Is that what you're talking about in terms of like creating your own brand?
That was the team I was on previously.
Okay.
Did you just like Google me or something?
I did. Yeah, you just shared your information. I Googled it. That popped up.
Okay, so if you go on Facebook is what I was talking about. So the team that I was on before was Aloha Military Homes team. And my buddy Brian Teal was the team leader, and he kind of shifted focus to taking care of his high school son, his only child. But so now we're a mega homes team. It's really just me and my wife. And but if you look at my Facebook, my first name, last name dash Hawaii Realtor, you'll see that. But as far as personal branding, when Brian was making that team, that was the idea of like appealing to the military, and because there's already a bunch of other like military island homes and like all these other different combinations of words, so you got to kind of be creative with that, or come up with a team name like real simple, one word team name like Girardi Homes or something, and then like the motto that goes with that, or like the logo, whatever it is that kind of says homes, military. Yeah.
Thanks.
Does that answer your question?
No, it does. Yeah, because when you see realtors around your community, you see a lot of personal branding. Like for example, like you mentioned Girardi Homes, and then like small it shows like EXP or Remax or whatever. Now I'm wondering if that's part of your personal branding to create your own design, do your own thing, to kind of throw yourself out there and set yourself apart within your community, so that way you become recognizable as that, real estate organization from within that specific community.
Yeah. Yes. I'll show you real quick. Share my screen. If anybody has to leave to go do something, feel free to leave. I'm gonna share my screen here. I'm gonna stop the recording too. It's still recording.
I think you're still recording. I haven't seen any pop-ups to say it stopped.
There it is. All right. Thank you, Nathan.